In this video, we're going to tie a traditional stimulator. First thing we're going to do, start with a 200R Tiemco hook and some 6/0 Veevus orange thread. First material we're going to tie in is going to be some deer hair. We're going to use a natural color, and we're going to put it into a stacker so that the tips are perfectly even. There we are. There's our tail. We want it to be about a quarter of the length of the shank of the hook. So just roughly measure it out. I like to trim my butt ends to the length that I'm going to tie. It's up to you though. You can tie it in with the butt ends fully hanging out, but I like to do it this way. It's a little cleaner, a little easier. You don't end up with all the mess and the big long fibers sticking out everywhere. So I'm just going to pull the fibers kind of away from the shank of the hook as I tie them back down. Then you can trim out any of the excess butt ends there. Nice stubby tail, that's what we're looking for in a stimulator. You don't want to tie in too long of a tail on this fly. I'm going to take some small or extra small copper wire. I want to use the really fine stuff. Just tie it in along the side of the shank of the hook, all the way back to the tail there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in the body material. For this we're going to use some dubbing. You can use lots of different kinds of dubbings. You can use dry fly dubbings, synthetic dubbings. The real trick is you don't want to use a dubbing that's too shaggy. So we're going to use a polar dub here. It's actually a synthetic, kind of translucent, but it's not too shaggy. We're going to start here just at the back. We're going to dub a fairly sparse body. I like to add just a little bit of dubbing at a time. I don't like to overdo it on my stimmies. Just real sparse dubbings. You can make it slightly tapered as you work your way forward. We're using an olive for this fly, but you can tie it in whatever color you like. We're going to take it about 2/3 of the way forward. Where we'll stop and we'll tie in our hackle for the body. For this we're going to use a brown, or kind of a grizzly brown, and we're going to actually undersize it as well. We want it to actually be shorter than you normally would tie for a fly of this size. There we go. These imitate just kind of the legs of a bug. It doesn't really imitate the head or the hackle or anything. So you just want nice short fibers for the hackle on this one. Then we're going to take that hackle feather. We'll do a full turn and then we'll work our way back down the body. I try to do as even a spiraling wraps as I can. Helps to use a nice quality whiting hackle feather too to really get the length that you need to finish the fly all the way down to the back. If you use a lower quality hackle, you're going to have troubles finishing the fly all the way to the end here. Oopsie, I just let go of it. I'm going to use my hackle pliers probably here towards the end again. So let's try that again. We'll spiral it back. Nice even wraps. And we'll pull out my hackle plier now. Even though I have plenty of room left, when it gets that thin, that small, it's hard to grasp towards the back end there. So Then we'll take our wire and just capture that hackle feather, and we'll spiral our wire forward. This will really lock down that hackle feather, keep it from coming unwound. And we can capture that wire once I get towards the head of the fly. Lock it down with some nice tight wraps. Then you can sneak in here and trim out the tip of your hackle feather. And we're now ready for the next step, which is going to be our wing. For our wing, we're again going to use deer hair. Much more generous clump this time. Probably about 5-6 times the size. And we're going to drop this into our stacker. Even up those tips. I like my wing to be just longer than the body, so I just kind of roughly measure it out. Trim the deer hair. I'm just going to capture it all with one nice loose wrap and really crank down on it. Then I'm going to creep up this deer hair with a little bit looser wraps. This will really help the deer hair from flaring too much with those kind of little softer wraps. They're still pretty tight, but they're just softer. They're not going to be as tight and bite down like those first few wraps. Then I'll just build a little bit of a ramp up my head here. So I'll just kind of take a few wraps forward and build a little bit of a ramp up to that deer hair wing. That'll just kind of help smooth everybody out and get that wing to really stand up. And if you have any fibers that are a little longer than the rest, I usually get in there and freaking pluck them out. I hate those fibers that stand out. There's always one. Never fails. Then we take our thread all the way up to the wing here. We're ready for our next hackle, which is going to be some grizzly. This one is going to be sized a little bit bigger. So it's going to be slightly oversized actually. A little bit bigger than our brown hackle. So when I put it on this hook here, I want it to be just a little bit bigger, but the trick is you don't want it too much bigger because we still have to lay down the dubbing. So I kind of want something that's going to be slightly undersized when I initially put it on the hook. But as I add the dubbing on the head, it'll actually get larger. There we go. I found one that I liked. So this one is size larger than the brown hackle still in the body, but it's just not quite as big as I want it to end up because I'm going to have the dubbing on the head still. So that'll add some bulk and some height to my hackle because there will be something underneath it once I wrap it. So now I'm ready for the head, and for this one let's use yellow this time. We did an olive body and we'll do an olive head, or an olive body and we'll do a yellow head. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk as I tie flies here. So I'm just going to kind of slowly build up a little bit of a head here. I like to add just a little bit of dubbing at a time, working my way up and down the head, making sure I've kind of covered up everything I need to cover up. There's no exposed pieces. There we go. Nice conical head is what I'm looking for. Then I'm going to take that grizzly hackle, make a full turn, and then just spiral it forward. Nice even wraps. Capture it with a couple wraps, trim out the extra fibers. There's always a few. Not the end of the world though. Then you can finish it off. I like to use this orange thread just to build a little bit of a head. That's all there is to the stimmy, or stimulator, stimmy for short. Very effective pattern. Works really well out here in the West. Could be tied in a lot of different colors and variations. That is just kind of a plain old standard stimmy right there for you.